And welcome to the Linden Project. Episode 2, officially one in the books. Sorry, just adjusting my microphone. So, as promised, we're going to talk about a couple things mostly today. First and foremost, I hope you like the new layout. A little bit further away, not as up close and personal as the last one. Obviously, I have a setup for more than one person now. So now we can definitely have a spot for our lovely CJ7A1, and then uh, Leon will be taking the spot of the guest today. But yeah, so this is what we're going to be looking at. This is what the studio is going to look like for the next couple episodes. I have a green screen I'm hopefully going to put up. It just was way too much work to do today, so we did not do that today. Simple as that. But yeah, so we have a couple things I talked about we're going to go over. First and foremost, holy shit, UFC 300. Wow, that shit was a banger, huh? So the first thing I want to do is just go through the results from UFC 300 and just talk about who won, who lost, what I thought of the card, and we'll go from there. So starting from the first fight, like we talked about, Davison Figueiredo, he ended up beating Cody Garbrandt by submission, round 2. I'm not going to compare with my predictions because I honestly don't remember what the fuck I said was going to happen. But yeah, so he submitted Cody Garbrandt. I think I said if he takes him down, he'll probably win. Good job, Leon. I think I said that if he takes him down, he'll probably win, which is exactly what happened. That shit went to the ground, and then they got him. So yeah, I mean, it was a good fight. I kind of missed part of it because I was on my way to where I was watching the fights, but from what I understand, it was a pretty good fight. I'm not surprised between those two. Yeah, good fight. Now, Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Man, dude. That fight was fucking, ooh, it was tough to watch. Jim Miller got the shit kicked out of him. Um, just straight up, he got his fucking shit beat. Which sucks. I really wanted him to do well. It's UFC 300. It's Jim fucking Miller. I really wanted him to do well, but obviously that's not how it went. Good on Bobby Green though. Bobby Green showed us who Bobby Green is. He stood up with him the whole fight and just pieced him up. So good on Bobby Green. I'm sad that he lost, but it is what it is. Then it was Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Jessica Andrade beat the shit out of that lady. Um, Marina is a really good fighter too. After I know I said I didn't really know who she was, and then I watched the tape leading up to the fight, all the highlights that they show of them, and I remembered her immediately. I was like, oh shit, I know her. She's a killer. So that was a good fight, really good fight. But again, it went to decision. Jessica just controlled her the whole time. So what are you gonna do? Now the main event of the early prelims. This is the first fucking banger we had. It was Jalen Turner versus Hanato Moicano. A lot of people yelled at me for calling him Renato. It's Hanato. My bad, guys. Hanato. Uh, this fight was crazy because Jalen Turner, in the first round, he knocks Hanato down and then just walks away. He like knocks down, walks away like this, and then the dude just stood back up, and the ref's like, "Yeah, there's still a fight going on. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're trying to walk off like that." He didn't even really get him that bad, so that was pretty interesting. Then round 2 starts. Hanato comes out and just beats the brakes off Jalen Turner, takes him down, just ground and pound like crazy. It was like 35, 40 seconds of ground and pound before the ref stepped in and stopped it. So good on Hanato, because holy shit, that was a really really cool fight to see because he got knocked down. I thought it was like, oh, it's over. He's gonna jump on him, and then he didn't. He just tried to do the walk off, and it did not pay off for Jalen Turner. I mean, Jalen Turner, wow, way to turn a big win into a big loss in a big way. That fight was crazy. It was really crazy. I had Jalen Turner, or I'm sorry, I bet Hanato Moicano by submission because that man's like a rear naked choke machine, and I was upset that he won by KO, obviously, because like my fight money. But yeah, no, he showed us who he is. You know what I mean? It was one of those really like putting on a display kind of fights where he goes out and just shows that like he's a fucking killer. He's a killer. All right. Now we're on to the prelims. So the first fight on the prelims was Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez knocked that man out in a minute and 30 seconds. He really, I did not expect a first round knockout from him. I think I predicted that one would go the distance. But it did not. It definitely did not. Diego Lopez beat the shit out of him. It was a really good fight too. We love those quick knockouts. Those always look good. Um, and Diego Lopez especially, like he came out with a fucking mullet, looking like he's ready to fight. Like you saw him, and I was like, oh, he's gonna beat the shit out of somebody. Like there's no way he's gonna lose. And he didn't. He put on a really good show. That was a good fight. So Diego Lopez, he moves to 24-6 too, which is solid numbers in the UFC. At featherweight, where there's not a whole ton of competition, so we could be seeing him fight for a belt pretty soon. The next fight was the women's bantamweight fight, Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. Yeah, I mean, we all knew how that was going to happen. We all knew that Holly Holm wasn't making it out of that one alive, and she didn't. She got submitted in the second round. I expected Kayla Harrison to full on knock her out, but a submission is just as good. A win's a win, a finish is a finish, and she finished Holly Holm for sure. So that'll put her on the map. If nothing else, it'll definitely put her as a name that people are gonna understand they have to beat. Uh, yeah, I mean, that was a good fight, man. She controlled Holly pretty much the whole fight. Like Holly did get some strikes in, but nothing meaningful. Nuh-uh. Kayla Kayla really put it on her that fight, but that we all knew that was going to happen. She was a huge favorite going into the fight. I think when betting closed, she was like a plus 800, I mean a minus 800 favorite, so like everybody knew she was going to win, you know? All right, then the dud of the night, Calvin Cater versus Aljamain Sterling. This one went the distance. It was 15 minutes of Aljo just holding Calvin Cater down. Which, like, yeah, I get it. You're a better wrestler, display it, put it on show. But oh my god, man, wow, it was bad. It was really boring to watch. For me, somebody who loves like jujitsu and the ground game and the technicality of MMA, it was cool and everything. But even for me, during points of it, it was like Aljo wasn't trying to finish the fight. He wasn't trying to advance position. A lot of what he was doing on the ground was just holding him down. Which it's a viable technique, but it's just not exciting, and people don't want to see it. And when you're a former champion, somebody who's trying to get another title shot, like you gotta be exciting. You know what I mean? And I feel like he just didn't do it. Yeah, I feel like he just didn't do it that fight. It was pretty evident that the UFC wasn't happy either. He was the only person who didn't get a post-fight interview, which is crazy. Like a former champion not getting a post-fight interview is fucking wild. But again, like if you're gonna put on boring fights, I can understand why they're not gonna give you an interview. Um, then the main event of the prelims was Yuri Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic. He ended up knocking him out in the second round, like halfway through the second round, pretty much. Wow, this fight was something else. If you asked anybody, just based on the first round, who wins this fight, every person would say Rakic. He was really handling the fight well. I felt like he had an advantage on Yuri. I felt like he was just really doing everything he needed to do to win that fight. And then Yuri just caught him. Like I don't even really think I could pinpoint the strike that ended that fight, but he got him, and it was obvious that he got him because he immediately got floppy legs, started wobbling around, and then he just went down. Um, So good on Yuri for the finish. He's really putting himself right back in the title picture at light heavyweight. I think Jamal Hill already called him out, saying he wanted to fight him, which I think is crazy. I think if you lose a fight, well, sorry for the spoiler, but Jamal Hill lost. I think if you lose a fight, you shouldn't be allowed to call anybody out. That's just me though. Like I don't think you should lose and then be like, yeah, now I want to fight this guy. It's like, bro, you just got beat up, and now you're already trying to fight somebody else. I think you should probably hold off. That's just me though. Again, who am I? I'm not an expert. Yeah, so Yuri Prohaska puts himself right back in the title picture. I think he is going to stay a contender at light heavyweight, but I just can't see him beating somebody like Pereira. I do not see Yuri Prohaska beating Alex Pereira. I'm sorry. Okay, now we move on to the main card. So, the first fight on the main card was Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. This is the one that I told you I was betting Cody Brundage as a massive underdog. He lost. Of course he did. Submission, second round. That's what we all expected. We expected Bo Nickel to wrestle. Bo Nickel is a wrestler, and he wrestled him successfully. He did a really good job. Controlled him. He was advancing position. He was trying to finish the fight, but ended up needing to finish it with submission, which is okay, right? Like, we'll take a finish. I'll take a sub just the same as I will a knockout, as long as you're finishing the fight, in some kind of exciting way. And the thing is, like, Bo, the one thing I will say about that fight is Cody proved that Bo isn't untouchable. Uh, Bo got hurt in the first round for sure. 100% he got hurt in the first round. Cody got him really good, and you could tell that that was like the first time Bo had been stunned in a fight. So it was a good fight. Nobody expected Cody Brundage to win, but I would have liked to see Bo fight a little bit of a stronger opposition. But it's only his sixth fight in the UFC, so he's 6-0 now. But Bo did what Bo was gonna do. He went out and did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. So more credit to him. Now the heartbreaker. So Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian. First of all, um, Arman Sarukian just punched a dude in the face on his way to the octagon. I don't know if anybody else saw that. Like, I saw people be like, "Oh, he went at a fan." No, he fucking punched that guy in the mouth. Like, whoa. I want to know what happened. I'm pretty sure he like did the thing where he reaches out. He's like, "Oh, slap my hand, slap my hand," and then he does, and he like grabbed him, and he's like holding him, and it's like this dude's literally on his way to being a fist fight. You're gonna hold his hand? Like, no, let him go. So you deserve to get punched, but I think Dana White said it best. He's probably gonna get sued. UFC's probably gonna get sued on that one. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, he punched a fan in the face on the way to the octagon, and then punched Charles Oliveira in the face quite a few times inside the octagon. Charles Oliveira, he put up a good fight. He had two really strong submission attempts. A guillotine in the first round that I have no fucking clue how Arman Sarukian got out of. Like, oh my god, that guillotine was so tight, it literally looked like he was gonna die, and then he just popped his head out like it was nothing and went back to punching him in the face. It was crazy. And then in the third round, right at the end of the third round, I want to say it was a Darce choke. I could be wrong. I'm a casual after all. I just watch him. I don't actually do the fighting. Um, but I'm pretty sure he had him in a Darce choke right at the end of the fight, and he's like sticking his tongue out like, and it's like, dude, bro, you just lost. Like, you lost. You were getting beat up for 3 rounds, and you're like sticking your tongue out on a submission attempt at the end of the fight. Like, the guy's not gonna tap. Um, it was really crazy. I had some good money on Oliveira. I really, really, really wish he won, but it is what it is. It really is. It was a good fight. It was probably like the most contested fight of the night, I would say. Most of the other fights were either one-sided or just ended really quick, so we didn't get to see the full of what everybody had to offer. But yeah, it was a good fight. Charles lost, which sucks, but your favorite fighter's not going to win every time. Um, Really, really crazy submission defense from Arman Sarukian. I'm so interested to see what that man does in this division, because every time I see him, I feel like he shows me something else and gives me another reason for why he is probably going to be the next champ. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and now we have the three title fights. So the first one we're going to talk about, I'm actually going to skip over the BMF title because uh, we have a lot to talk about on that one. So let's talk about the women's strawweight title fight. Weili Zhang versus Yan Xiaonan. Again, I'm sorry if I butcher her name. I really like her. I can't pronounce that name very well. So Weili versus Yan. Wow, holy shit. This was like this fight is why I love MMA. It was clearly a very, very skilled grappler and wrestler versus a very, very skilled striker. Oh shit. Does this sound better? Oh, it does sound better. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I was on the wrong audio preset this whole time. So hopefully the audio sounds better from here on out. Um, but yeah, so it was clearly a very talented striker versus a very, very talented ground game grappler or wrestler. When they were on the feet, it really seemed like Jan was going to win the fight at any minute. When they were standing up and throwing, it really felt like any one of those punches or kicks from Jan was going to put Whaley down. Whaley did land a fucking nasty head kick in, I think it was the third round, I want to say, third or fourth round. She landed a really nice head kick, and it was crazy. But overall, I was pretty disappointed with Jan's ground game. It felt like every time Wei took her down, Jan had no idea what to do. She had no idea how to get up, and no idea how to defend the transitions. That was the even crazier part, was Wei just switched into mount or took her back, almost at free will. Um, so it was a very interesting matchup in the sense that it was literally a striker versus a grappler in the most pure form. So the fight was very, very interesting. It ended up going the distance. Oh, I forgot to mention that at the end of the first round, Yan Jianan was fully unconscious. She got caught in a rear naked choke for 35 seconds, I think, and she was fully unconscious. She lets her go. uh, Zhang lets her go, and she's literally not there. But they don't stop the fight for whatever fucking reason. They just like, yeah, no, give her a minute to rest. Put her in there for the next round. She'll be good to go. And she was, to be fair, she was good to go. She kept fighting. She put up just as much of a fight in the second round. But oh my god, that was scary, scary.
This episode of the
Okay.
Linden Project is brought to you by Linden Forever. Linden Forever is a clothing brand created and designed by Jeffrey Ill. There are a ton of different designs and colors available. My favorite one happens to be this one. It reminds me of like the old PS2 logo. You can get it in just about any color you want. Personally, I like the classic white tee look the best. There are even things like water bottles or mugs available for you to buy, so no more fighting over those Stanleys in Target. And of course, there are things like hats and other accessories too. There's even a little something for the ladies. So make sure you check out lindenforever.com and help support the creative minds that come from our small
Yeah.
corner of the world.
Now we have to talk about the BMF title. Um, Before this fight, the BMF title was kind of like a joke to me. I would think about the BFF, the best friends forever. No, the BMF title. I would look at it as like something they created so they could have title fights when they didn't have title fights, right? They just wanted another excuse to make championship rounds happen, and another way to make fights mean something, which is fine. It's honestly fine. I was fine with it. Um, but when the first fight happened and it was Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, I kind of felt this is just a reason to give it 5 rounds because, to be honest, like neither of these guys are the baddest motherfucker in the game right now. I mean, let's be real. When that fight happened, Nate Diaz was washed as fuck. And Jorge Masvidal was on the tail end of his career as well. I'm pretty sure he got a title fight after that anyway, but still, it doesn't matter. Um, the title felt like a joke, and then Justin Gaethje won it. Him and Dustin Poirier fought for it, and he head kicked Dustin Poirier into next year, and he won it. And all of a sudden, it felt a little bit more legit because now you have Justin Gaethje, basically a gatekeeper for that division for forever now, and he has the belt. Somebody who every time he goes in there is going to give you 110% and try and get a finish for sure. So it was really cool to see him with that belt. And then you put him up against Max Holloway, somebody who is going to go in there and throw hands. His whole thing is he's the best boxer in the UFC. I talked about it when I looked at the fights leading up to the card. That man is the best boxer ever to fight in the UFC. His hands are unbeaten. He made it so obvious that he can pick apart basically anybody and do all the damage he needs. What surprised me was the spinning kick he hit Justin Gaethje with at the end of the first round. He threw it almost as like a, yeah, it's the end of the round. Let me just throw this out here and maybe I land. Maybe I do a little bit of damage. He broke his nose. He broke Justin's nose, and that changed the whole fight. Justin couldn't breathe after that. You could tell his cardio was shot. He just wasn't fighting the same. And I think that's actually crazy that that one spinning kick is what really set the course for the whole fight. Now, I don't love how the fight ended. I think that Max put on a crazy display of his boxing prowess and beat the brakes off Justin Gaethje for 5 straight rounds. And I think calling for him to stand in the middle of the octagon at the end was a little like, oh boy, like we know what's gonna happen here. And you know what, Max did put on a show. He put out one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my entire life. He lands the cleanest overhand right on Justin's chin, and Justin gets turned into a corpse in the middle of the octagon. It was crazy. 2 seconds left in the fight. Justin Gaethje is in a heap in the middle. Yeah, BMF title means something now. It really does mean the baddest motherfucker in the UFC, because holy shit, you just put out maybe one of the scariest knockout artists that's still fighting. So obviously, it's the fight of the night. That was the fight of the night. 5 rounds of just absolute fists being thrown, and Max Holloway ends it with fireworks with only 2 seconds left. Like, that was one of the only times I've seen a fight go 25 minutes, basically, and been like, yeah, that fight needed every single second of those 25 minutes. And then we have the main event of the evening. The heavyweight or light heavyweight championship. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Holy shit. Jamal Hill talked a lot of shit leading up to that fight. And I'm pretty sure that I said that Alex Pereira was going to win by knockout. I never in a million years thought Alex Pereira would come out and do something as iconic as telling Herb Dean not to stop the fight after a low blow, and then with the next punch he throws, knocking Jamal Hill to the ground, and then finishing him with some ground and pound. Uh, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I mean, Herb Dean going to stop the fight, and Poatan just being like, no, don't stop it. I'll stop it for you. And then just the left hook. And it was like a glancing check left hook. He did not get his full power behind that strike. If he did, Jamal Hill would be dead. Crazy fight. Alex Pereira should fight whoever he wants next. Great job. Thank you very much. Holy cow. Well, that's probably enough about people punching each other in the face. Let's talk about a sport that's a little less violent. We're also going to talk about the NBA playoff picture. As everybody knows, the regular season's over. We're moving into the playoffs now. So first and foremost, let's get the obvious out of the way. Big Boston Celtics. Yeah, the Boston Celtics, they're in first place. They secured that a while ago. So they're going to be playing the 8 seed in the first round. But we have to deal with the play-in tournament first. Also in first place in the West is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'm not going to lie, that was kind of crazy to me. I would have never told you that the Thunder were going to finish in first place if you asked me at any point earlier in the season. I think honestly, up until the All Star break, I wasn't even aware that they had a good team. But wow, yeah, first place for the Thunder. Congratulations, that's crazy. Shai Gilgeous Alexander, it's Shea Gilgeous Alexander. Please forgive me. Yeah, wow, he carried that team. I mean, he really had an awesome season, and it's clear that that team is working. I mean, to be in first place in the West too, like that you have to have a good team. And it's good to see that they secured that first place spot. I am honestly happy for them. I think it couldn't have happened to a better team. Um, all right. So we talked about the first place teams. Let's jump straight down to the play-in spots. So in the play-in spots, I really like this. I think that this new play-in tournament they've been doing is like a really good thing for the NBA because really there's not that much of a difference between the eighth and 10th seed teams. Like if you're in 10th place, I think that your team is probably going to be a lot closer to the 8th seed than like the 8th seed is to, let's say, the 5th seed even. I think that there's huge gaps there. So I like the play-in tournament. Um as I'm recording this, it is April 17th, Wednesday. So This should probably come out tonight. So yeah, April 17th. Um, the play-in games on the West have already happened. The Lakers beat the Pelicans, so the Lakers secured the seventh seed by beating the Pelicans. We knew the Lakers would be in the playoffs. We knew they're not going to miss it completely. It's LeBron. Like, let's be real, he's going to be in the playoffs. So they secure the seventh spot. They're going to be playing the second seed Nuggets in the first round. I'm predicting LeBron's leaving in the first round. To be real, to be so real, I really think that LeBron and the Lakers are probably out in the first round this year. I don't see them beating the Nuggets in a seven-game series. I'm sorry, I'm a Lakers fan too, but yeah, I don't see them making it past the Nuggets. And then the surprise, kind of, the ninth seed Kings beat the 10th seed Warriors. Holy shit. So I'm gonna stop here for a second because what does this mean for the Warriors? They're not in the playoffs, right? They lost in the play-in. So they're gone. They're done. Their season's over. Klay Thompson had an abysmal game. He went 0 for 8 or 0 for 10, and scored 0 points. I don't know what they do. I mean, their core is getting old. They're gonna have to make a change. If they want to return to winning, they need to make a change, I feel. Now, they don't need to do something drastic, like they don't have to blow up the whole team, but I think you got to move some things around. I don't know how much value their star players like Clay or Draymond Green have, especially after this season. Like, holy shit! Like Draymond Green literally decided to become a career criminal, and Klay Thompson decided to just vanish into thin air. So who knows? Who knows? Personally, I hope that they could keep the team together and still be a contender. I really think that team is something fun to watch. So, but yikes. They lost to the Kings. They're out. Kings are in. Well, maybe. The Kings get to play the New Orleans Pelicans, and whoever wins that will be the eighth seed, and they will be playing the Thunder in the first round. So, who do I think is a better fit to play the Thunder? Probably the Pelicans. I think that the Pelicans could be a good matchup for the Thunder, but I don't know if if the Pelicans are even going to beat the Kings, to be real. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. So I look forward to it. But I'm thinking we get Pelicans against Thunder. That's just me though. All right, so now on the east side in the play-in, we have the ninth and 10th seed, the Bulls and the Hawks playing. Now, man, the Hawks are probably my least favorite team this season. And that's because I think that they should be a lot better than they are. Uh, they have like Trey Young is a killer. They have a good team. Or really, I thought they did. I honestly thought they had a good team, and now I'm looking at it and I kind of think it's just Trey Young. So I personally hope the Bulls take that win. Just again, I think that's just me. I want them to have a chance at that eighth seed spot. But the most interesting part for me is the 76ers versus the Heat in the seventh and eighth seed. They're playing for the seventh seed spot. So whoever wins that game automatically gets the seventh seed. The loser will play the winner of the Bulls Hawks for the eighth seed. So I personally think that it is hilarious that our two biggest rivals in the East for the Celtics are the Heat and the 76ers, and they're in the play in for the seventh seed. You're not even going to see us until the conference finals? Wow. Wow. It's just so crazy to me that the only time either the Heat or the 76ers see us, they're going to be it's going to be in the conference finals. So like good luck to either of those teams. I don't give a fuck who wins. Personally, I hope the 76ers lose because I don't like the 76ers, but that's just me. But whoever wins that game will move to the seventh seed, and then they'll get to play the Knicks in the first round. The Knicks secured the second seed, which is awesome. Again, good to see the Knicks being good. But oh my goodness gracious, whoever wins, they have to face the Knicks immediately. Like that's crazy. You're gonna lose, and the Knicks are gonna move on. I think that's what happens. Um, so now in the middle of the pack, in the fourth and fifth seed in each conference in the West, we have the Clippers versus the Mavericks in the first round. Wow. I think the Mavericks should win this. I like the Mavericks better. But who knows? The Clippers have a lot of star power. They have a lot of playoff experience, so the Clippers could easily take that series, no problem. But I think that's probably going to be the most interesting series in the first round to watch. Will be Clippers Mavericks. Over in the East at the 4 and 5 seed, we have the Cavaliers versus the Magic. Which holy shit, I never would have guessed that was going to happen. The Cavaliers, they're a really good team. I think that they probably are going to take this just because while they don't have a ton of playoff experience, I think they have a good chemistry going on that team. I think that team's going to work really well together, and I think the playoffs will only will amplify it. And then the 3 and 6 matchup. So this is the 3 seed versus the 6 seed in each conference. In the West, we have the Timberwolves versus the Suns. It's so funny that the Suns are in fucking sixth place. That team is so stacked. You have no right to be in sixth place. I hope they lose first round to the Timberwolves. That would be great. I would love that. And then in the East, we have the Bucks versus the Pacers. This is probably going to be the most boring series. Well, for me personally, I think that this series in the first round will be really entertaining for a lot of people to watch. I just don't think that I'm going to like it that much. I'm not a huge fan of either of those teams. I honestly think that it might be the most closely matched. Like it might be the most competitive. I see this going to a game seven, honestly. But then again, we could get playoff Dame, and playoff Dame could just win every game for them, no problem. So it'll be really interesting. Obviously, to look forward, I think the Celtics make it all the way. I think they go right to the finals. I don't really see a team in the East that's going to give us much trouble in a 7 game series. I can't see the Celtics losing a 7 game series to any team in the league, to be real. Like, I can't see that. I don't think that they lose a 7 game series to just about anybody. So that is the NBA playoff picture. Let me know like who your team is, who you're riding with. Let me know who you think's gonna win if it's different from who your team is. Let me know who you think's gonna win the play-in games. I want to hear it all. Moving on to a little bit of other news in the NBA, Jonte Porter of the Raptors got a lifetime ban for betting. That's right, sports gambling. A lifetime ban from a sport for sports gambling. I mean, I think it's crazy that anybody would even risk their career in the NBA, whether you're a 12th man, a practice squad player, it doesn't matter. You're getting paid to play basketball. Millions of dollars, by the way. I think to risk that to make more millions of dollars is like the ultimate act of greed. Holy cow. That's crazy. Lifetime ban. Gone. NBA career gone. Just wild choice and decision making. Wild choice right there to and I think it was like he just gave somebody information. He was like, "Hey, yo, man, like I'm not playing on this day, so take the under or whatever." And the guy ended up winning like $1 million. I think he won $1 million off betting on the under for Jonte Porter. But hey, man, I mean, people do what they do, and then consequences come. So good luck to him. Holy shit, NBA really, really putting their foot down on that. So lifetime ban for him from the NBA. Wow. So again, just to give you guys kind of a look forward into what's coming for the Linden Project, we obviously have my lovely updated studio, aka my living room. So hopefully we're going to be doing shows out of here from now on. Got a little bit more space. We have room for our lovely CJ781. And then hopefully room for guests soon. So again, if you want to be on the show, if you have anything you want to promote or display, just contact us at contactlindenproject@gmail.com. If you do not get a response, feel free to hit me up on Facebook or wherever you may have me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you've made it to this far in the video, then we love you. Thank you for watching. And hopefully we keep bringing more content for you, and you enjoy watching it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll give you another episode probably sometime next week. Hopefully we will have CJ here for that. Um, if not, hopefully we will have somebody on as a guest. I'm sure you're probably getting tired of just listening to me talk to myself by now, but the lovely feature of my cat for you hopefully made this one a little bit more tolerable. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.